All right, super excited. Obviously, Thursday is a kind of a shine and polish day for us. A lot of guys got good valuable reps. Aiden Lawford's been with us all week. Josh Croots actually practiced today. We'll see where that goes to Saturday, but super excited again. Once again, hit the fans up about just. I know they've been unbelievable to have two back-to-back home games. When this schedule came out, almost probably about 2 years ago, my hope, goal, and dream was to put a team together that was able to match the people that are coming into our stadium, right? So to have two ranked opponents come into our stadium, last opportunity against USC, homecoming, to have a memory that was created there, and now to have the number one team in the country. Been since 1950, if I'm not mistaken. 75 years is a long time before somebody's come in ranked number one against a ranked Illinois team. So super pumped. I thought our guys have been really, really good. Should be a great weather day on Saturday. I encourage everybody to get up a little earlier, right? Get to the stadium a little earlier and be seated by 10:30 and make that environment as good as we can. Welcome a really good football team that I'm excited to play. So with that, open it up.
I assume Josh Croots, the guy who doesn't need a lot of practice runway.
Yeah, he was adamant about practicing today, even like a week ago. Today I literally was very impressed what I saw, and super resilient and incredibly tough. And again, he's been a 3-year starter. Kind of what we have. There's been times during my career here. I would say over the last 2 to 3 years, guys that have started multiple years. They don't really need a lot of reps. They can see it mentally, and Josh has been locked in, headset communication all the way during last week's preparation, this week's preparation, and super excited about the opportunity.
What would you say it reflects the growth of your program to have the national spotlight on it again, twice in 3 weeks?
I'm super pumped, but that's kind of the world we're living in now, right? Like people want to be around people that win, and I've told donors, some of the guys that have given us significant money over the last several years, I want them to be proud of what they're doing, right? Like nobody gives money, nobody gives support to something that they kind of feel good about. They believe in something, it makes a difference, and I think that's one of the first messages I heard from Josh was to build something that's sustainable. And I don't know what's going to happen Saturday, but I do know we've made a lot of progress. Super excited where we're going.
What can that atmosphere be for recruits? You guys have a lot of games.
Yeah, we got a lot of good recruits coming in. Talked to several last night. I think the effect that has on people, that they want to come here, but also B, the feeling when they're leaving the building is a big part of it. I really like more than anything that just the buzz around, like we're working on 27s, 28s, guys that are freshmen, sophomores in high school. One of the biggest things that I learned when I was at Wisconsin, right, those kids that we were recruiting, Wisconsin had always been good, right? And the kids that I was recruiting, their entire lifetime, Wisconsin had always been good. And then when I came here, it was kind of almost the exact opposite, right? I couldn't reference to what they grew up watching, right, and what they grew up feeling and what they grew up, not only a big part of our Illinois kids, but kids around the conference or around the Midwest when we're going down to see kids in Florida. So that's probably the biggest thing, the narrative around. There's still a lot of, I made reference, I get pissed as hell at the Blitnikoff that's kind of giving us a shoulder about Hank Beatty, and it's just because they've never had to consider an Illinois receiver. So I got to convince those people that what Hank Beatty is doing isn't by chance. They saw it last year with obviously Pat Bryant. They saw it before with Isaiah Williams. You have to build the foundation off of guys before you, and that's what I think we've done.
Robert asked you about it on Monday, but like about 2010 when we took down #1 at Wisco.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything about the week leading up, the vibes?
Oh,
about,
yeah.
Hey, did you think, hey, this is possible? We're going to go do this.
It was a player-driven movement, right? But there was a lot of confidence in what they were doing. I have 3 of those players in my building now. One's my defensive coordinator, one's my D-line coach, one's my running back coach. It was funny just how times have changed. On Tuesday, I showed them, we have a chart that shows our layout of the week this week against Ohio State. I showed them the chart from 2010, right? And it looked a lot similar, except for Tuesday's practice was 22 periods that I cut back from 25. This week's practice was 14 that I cut back from 16, right? And if I would have told those guys they're going to have a 24-period practice, I might have had about 12 guys walk out of the room, right? Just it's a different era with kids, but it's not what I've been trying to preach them all week. It's not what they know, it's what they feel. And I like this group. I know I go back to the Indiana game, like everybody had the concerns on the outside world, but I knew that room better than anybody, and I knew how we'd respond, and that's what they gave me. And I have a feeling about this group now and this week. I don't know what Saturday is going to bring, but I like the way we feel.
A little bit off topic, I apologize ahead of time, but the NCAA locked in the transfer portal window. Your thoughts on?
Yeah, well, I not inside information, but I knew that one was coming for a while. I kind of, even going back to last spring, I sat in a meeting that we originally came up with the first window, and I knew the players weren't going to go for cutting it to that short. I said it's going to have to be longer. So we've already had proactive conversations, even going back to this past summer, with our administration, because like what's happening now is with one portal window, we don't have that spring one, and that's been a very active window for us. And the reason it needed to be was because here at Illinois, they've been really closed windowed to guys being admitted in January, and we have to change that narrative. We'll be left behind in college football if that window doesn't change for us here at Illinois. So I give credit to Josh and Roger and a lot of administration, because I think that the willingness for the university to open up that window is a huge deal and can help us have success, because if we just continue to operate like it's been in the past, we'll get left behind once again. And we've done so much to get to where we are. I think myself, Coach Underwood, and Shauna in women's basketball, we knew how big this window was, and it's a really big deal.
You've been hearing from more people than normal. I mean, you're playing number one. Advice from people more than normal. I know you're perfect.
You know what? Best thing happened last Thursday, or actually it's Friday morning. I always take my girls to school Friday morning. I come in really early and leave, and Zafir Stewart was coming around for a 7 a.m. lift, and I went to bump him. I had my phone in my hand, and my phone fell down and cracked. So my phone didn't work for 3 days, and it was a blessing in disguise because I didn't have my phone. But you know, I always hear from people during the course of the week. I'd say it's more usually reactive commentary than proactive. I think everybody knows who I am. Anybody that knows me knows why I'm wired, and they don't really bother me. So, but I would say Bret would tell you a lot of media, besides you beautiful people, right? A lot of the outside world, you know, that I just didn't want to get off my routine. You know, like I've had several major organizations call me about doing something on game day, like doing something live, and I'm just like, no, because I live my routine, and I preach to our guys about living their routine. And if I do something on national TV the day of a game, they'll know that I'm not living my routine, and it's a bad message. So I just told our guys, like, listen, I don't need anything special. I just need to be you. I need you to be the best you, and whatever happens that day will happen. But I think our guys are concentrated on that.
But obviously, Ohio State's an explosive offense, and we know limiting explosives has been a big talk with you guys. What's key for you guys to limiting this offense in particular, or broadly, some of those explosives?
Yeah, well, you know, they obviously have really explosive players on the perimeter, a good run game, a very accurate quarterback who delivers the ball on a good O-line. I think to keep the ball in front of us, we got to tackle efficiently. I think to stay on track and be early down successful, but they take these moments, these little specific times where they try to make an explosive play by a special alignment shift, motion trade, and we got to be aware of those moments when they happen.